Welcome to episode 255 of the Off Beat Podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, most important ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah. Today's sponsored, unsponsored drink is Ghost Sour Green Apple. Sponsorships, I've been getting some emails recently for some, some that are pretty, you question intentions, like, are these sponsors hitting you up? Because in the email, they'll be like, oh, we love your show. And you'll be like, you're not even subscribed to my channel. You don't know if it's automated emails or automated interests, or it's just like, let's just send emails to every single one. But then, you look up the product. It's like, damn, you guys actually got a legitimate following. You actually have endorsements from pretty high level people. But, we'll see. Who needs the magic mind when you can give it magic from behind and pour it on her back and flurp it up like a overpriced Smoothie King smoothie. Seems like quality products though, we'll see. Maybe I'll finally have my first real sponsor. But in the meantime, I'll just sponsor companies that didn't ask me to sponsor them, If I sponsor you, that means I know you endorse the stuff I say. Wow. Bazinga. Recording this on January 15th. Yes, the big 1-5. Already halfway through January. At 3:50 p.m. Eastern, I did some poor time management. I'm in a time management crisis right now. So, let's talk about lifting your spirits and the cable curl thingy that kind of looks like a lumpy spaghetti noodle, except it's probably got so much bacteria on it because no one actually wipes down their machines or their equipment. I barely wipe my equipment. I haven't showered in 2 days. Kidding. Am I? Oh, am I a beautiful man that can't stand? I dub TV, and you see this background at hand. Oh, God. Yeah. On the daily grind, as the kids say, and I'm not talking about sexy red daily grind. I'm actually talking about the daily grind or the daily brew. I once had a history teacher named Coach Brew, and apparently a few things were brewing behind the scenes because he disappeared one day. Then it became a week, then 2 weeks. You ever just have like a teacher just disappear from class? No explanations were given. Then that's when the rumors go around like, oh, apparently he was having inappropriate relations with the student. Yeah, look, this was like 9th grade, so that was a pretty young student. It may have been 8th grade. I don't remember if it was middle of high school. Not to put the guy on blast. I haven't, done a follow-up on that case. Not that really matters, To each their own. I hate when people say that, to each their own. It's like, well, to each their own until, it literally becomes your own blood line. It's like, you know what? Love who you love. It's like, yeah, well, the thing is, having a baby with your mother will probably, cause a few ailments to that child, And then there's a weird thing about teen pregnancy, right? I don't know how the fuck I got into this. Who needs a teen mom when, they have teen mom shows. They never had teen dad because the assumption was, oh, a teen dad would never be in the picture, It's like teen moms are really just there's a pressure for them to be felt like, it's like, oh, I'm the mom, and they're always going to be given the benefit of the doubt. And there's a lot more leeway when teen moms mess up compared to teen dads, And that's the thing about being a teen mom. I understand the struggle of it. I'm not trying to downplay the struggle of being a teen mom, but it kind of feels more like teen mom situations don't typically end up well. And it's not about, to me, it's not even about like the child. It's actually about the two people involved. Because it's always like some 20-year-old dude who graduated from the high school like a few years back, and he's kind of a piece of shit now. He's that guy that kind of lounges around the area, still goes to the games and stuff, but doesn't have a job. Or if he does have a job, it's a remote job that's like, oh, I just, I work at an auto shop. And like, I've been there 3 times in the past year. Not one time have I seen you there. Like, it's an off and on thing, These are the guys that are getting teen moms pregnant, It's not the guy with the future. It's not like the One Tree Hill situation where, what was it, Nathan and whatever the fuck Chad's name, Lucas. Nathan and Lucas, where they had a situation where, their dad had a basketball scholarship. He basically turned that down, went to do business, actually went to get a degree and stuff like that. And, the situation with their mother and stuff, And it, though that's not the normal teen mom situation, Typically, after 5 years of distress, they'll be hanging off one tree, and there'll be no hill for them to roll down after people cut them down. Yeah. I'm sure there's a high teen mom suicidal rate. I don't know how the fuck I got into this. I would say there's a high teen dad suicide rate, but, there's probably not even statistics for that because no one cares about those statistics. Like, how many men out there are miserable because they don't get to see their child? Like, imagine that. Like, imagine that internal depression that you have to absolve with. Whether you want to be in that child's life or not, that's a whole separate thing. Because sometimes there's men that don't want to be a part of the child's life because of the way the system has been, held against them. And by the way, you should always hold yourself accountable to do the right thing and take care of your child regardless of the circumstance. But at the same time, it's like, sometimes like if you're not really going to have a real voice or impact in that kid's life with the way things are set up, why even try to be emotionally attached to it? As fucked up as that says, Jesus. This is a pretty fucked up podcast. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how you prevent the teen pregnancy thing. I don't know why as a grown man I'm talking about teen pregnancy. I don't even feel like teen pregnancy is really like a thing out there now. I mean, I know it happens, but it's not like trendy. Like, it's not trendy. It's trendy to, get rid of the child more than it is to keep it. Oh, the bitch is trendy, as Drake would say. And maybe, I don't know, maybe abortions are trendy. Maybe that's why people get them. I do think people make a lot of those decisions based off trendiness, as weird as that may sound. Like, oh, it's not cool to have children, It's like, what? It's not the timing, It's like, well, it's never going to be great timing, You think when they made the Wiggles fruit salad song, you think when they were making that song, like, I just don't think this is the right time in society for a fruit salad song. And now, what do you know? It's about as the most sang national anthem as the actual national anthem. It's an American classic, even though the guys in the Wiggles are like British. So I guess just fish and chips. Yeah. Let's imagine what would have happened in my life if I would have got a girl pregnant in high school. Ideal, like, I'm 16, she's 16, or something along that range. Like, how different would a life be, Because the best case scenario is, I guess you could be a teen, or 30, 35, 40, is you get someone pregnant. The odds of it working out are very slim, as the numbers show. But when it's like teenagers, because you only have like enough of a potential income to even make life worthwhile, It's like you're dealing with all the stress and you don't even have like the infrastructure or a resume or a skill set to even like be able to give the kid anything, right? So that's why like the teen, or just having children at a very young age, like even 18 or 19 is still pretty surreal to have children, or 20. Really, I think like probably the age where it's like, where it's like probably the most proper age these days, I would say is probably like 24, like as a girl. And as a guy, like you probably need to be at least like 25 or 26 to even, I don't know, I would probably say 30 to be honest. I think that would be like the earliest age where someone of a typical age would be actually ready, There's no way this 17-year-old is even understands ramifications. You just can't be a good mother or a good father at that age. It's literally against all odds, as it's like the MTV show. It's true life. But because you're in that weird phase where it's like you still quote unquote got life to live, and then you overdose on fentanyl. That's nothing to joke about. Sorry, I just watched a video of, it's pretty popular all over the internet. The Kensington, Pennsylvania, the zombie drug. I didn't know what the zombie drug was, but it actually, what it is horse tranquilizer. They literally just inject horse trank into themselves, and it leaves holes like on the outer part of their body, the skin of their body. And it's interesting, I don't know what I would do. Like, how do you deal with someone? It's weird to say, how do you deal with someone? But how do you actually go about someone that has a drug issue, or any type of issue? Alcohol, drugs, trank. Like, it's weird, like, hey, he's on the trank today. It's like, oh. And they call it the zombie drug, like you're Left 4 Dead, the video game. Except, the government basically treats drug people like zombies. They just, leave them out there, free to be how people treat them, bad, good, or indifferent. They're not really set up for care, So, yeah. And it's weird because, like, the process of the mindset when this guy was interviewing someone, he went from like, yeah, I'm a current user, but he seemed like pretty normal at the moment. He's like, it's hard out here. It seemed like a guy who like still struggled, but he was very adamant about trying to get better. And he seemed like pretty normal. And then like literally like 5 minutes after, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. He got some around the corner, and he literally was just, he wanted to show himself injecting it. Now, the video like blurred out when he was doing it, but the guy described it like voiceover of what was taking place. But it's just gonna show like 1 minute someone could be like, very optimistic. The world's like, the world's turning in the right sphere for them. And then he's just like some chemical, some anxiousness, something makes them where they crave that to kind of fiend that off, I guess that's really the scary. You can't get into someone's mind when it comes to this stuff. I don't know. Would you rather be like a caretaker, or like have a sibling that lives with you, or a family member, or anyone, or friend Would you rather be babysitting? It's weird to say babysitting, but Would you rather have to deal every day, someone living at your house, someone who struggles with drugs of a severity, or someone who has a child that they have no business of knowing how to take care of, and they're bad and they're just immature? Like, what is more stressful, Someone who has a severe drug issue, or someone that has a child, but you basically are the ones kind of taking care of it, more than them, because they just don't have the infrastructure to actually really, be a sole responsible for it, It's a good question, I guess the answer is hopefully they have both issues. It's like they come to you, the uncle, and they're like, why is mommy looking like a zombie? And be like, what is it, Wednesday? She's been sober for 8 days, Call it a W around here. Jesus. But yeah. Yeah. But you know what? Drugs, they got its purpose in life. Not all the idea of doing drugs isn't bad, right? And it's very case by case basis. That's why I hate hearing people have these outlandish one way opinions about how one drug is beneficial for everyone, when like we all see like the drugs that, well, people even call certain things drugs, but we all see the negative side effects of anything that even people try to say are healing and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, they can be, but just like anything, food can be a very addictive quality. And there's people outspoken about how bad, not grass-fed eggs and fucking fast food and all this junk food. And they'll be the same ones like, oh, but this herb, like there's no negative side effects to overconsumption of it. You're like, you sure about that? Because I know a lot of people that overconsume this stuff and they are basically just numb, half smitten, barely can keep their eyes open, just dead inside people, have no energy, smell like shit. And they're one of the most depressing, miserable people. Tell me how those things are really coping with that stuff, I don't want to come off as insensitive. But it's like anything, it's not that these things are bad. It's just that any of this stuff is not really good for you and consistent consumption of it, right? They're called gateways for a reason, To me, I don't think weed is any better for you than alcohol. I'm going to be honest with you. Because people use them for the same stuff. People use them for either enjoyment, recreational, to have fun, certain environments, or they use it to numb, to get away, to kind of as a way to cope with things, right? They both have pretty bad long-term side effects. They both can cost you quite a bit of money over time, Look, I guess it's more about how your body is adapted. Like, the issue isn't someone who grew up around it and consumes it because they're kind of used to it. It's someone that like kind of gets into it late in life. That's the person you got to worry about, Those are the people you got to worry about. The people that get into stuff because they've seen all these other people, successful people, get into stuff, or they're the ones that like get into it when they're like 29 and stuff. Those are the people you got to worry about getting into some of this stuff because they have no like prior, they don't know how the bad of it looks. So they don't know like the effects it can have on your mood swings and all this stuff. And to learn that when you're 16 or 17, when there's not really much ramifications compared to, when you have a job or kids and shit like that, it's a whole different ramification. And it's much harder to get out when you have more stress on yourself, So I don't know. I'm not saying say no to drugs. All I'm saying is let's just treat them all fairly equal, That's all I'm saying. starting to sound like a Lyndon B. Johnson drug campaign. Well, what did they say? JFK, he was on like amphetamines. It's not meth, like amphetamines or something like that. See, you know what? Honestly, if they would have just had pre-workout back in the day, you know what? 90% of these people wouldn't. They could have resorted to simpler tactics, much more safer avenues, it's a lot easier to decaffeinate, the detox, being overcaffeinated than it is to, detox from amphetamines withdrawals, It's a little bit different of a world, right? But yep, that is how the cookie crumbles. Alrighty. But yeah. Tit for tat. Pit pat. And yeah. You know what? I think I'm gonna call it here. I'm on the time straight. You know what? This is the shortest episode in Often Be History. It might just be a clip. I might not even count this as an episode. This will just be a clip, But yeah. Alright. This is maybe episode 255, but probably not. Yeah, this will just be a clip. Team Mom and whichever way the mom crumble cookies go. So yeah. Enjoy this clip of the Often Be podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and suck some titties. Yeah, because I got to be at work. I got to eat. What are you doing? Waving the checker flag. You got to eat. All right.